The Dallas Cowboys post-game show is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Well, the Seattle Seahawks are notoriously tough at home. They don't lose home openers, and they didn't today. Welcome, everyone, to the Cowboys postgame show. Brad, Sham, Babe Laufenberg at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, where the Seahawks got their first win of the year and dropped the Cowboys to 1-2 with a 24-13 win. It was a day, frankly, when it looked like, for the most part, the defense didn't play a perfect game, but they played well enough to win most games, but not with the offense misfiring the way it is.
Yeah, the offense is clearly broke. How they fix it, it's up to coaches. As Scott Linehan told me a little while ago, that's why they put coach in front of your name. So it's Coach Linehan, Coach Garrett. It's up to those guys to figure this out. And I agree 100%. Defensively, did a good job against the run. Only gave up about 3 yards a carry. Held them under 300 yards. Typically, you win those games. But again, the offense just couldn't do enough to keep the defense off the field. And one of the things, too, offensively, 3 of 13 on third down. It was a problem in the first 2 games. It was a problem today.
And for different reasons. They weren't, as they say, behind the chains so much today as they were in Charlotte. Let's hear some of the post-game thoughts of Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett.
How we doing, guys?
You feel you put yourself in a hole offensively with the way the offense performed and kind of snowballed from there?
Yeah, obviously we didn't play well enough on offense. I thought we were able to run the ball well throughout the game. We didn't throw the ball as efficiently as we needed to. We weren't able to make enough big plays in the passing game throughout the game. We didn't do a good enough job, again, staying ahead of the chains, controlling the line of scrimmage in the passing game, like we would have wanted to in the game. I thought we did a better job rallying a little bit at the end, but certainly not good enough. The turnovers hurt us, the early interception, and then when we're giving ourselves a chance at the end of the ball game, the fumble, and then the late one. So obviously, I have to do a better job with the football, and overall the pass efficiency and explosiveness was not there.
Do you have a handle on the pass efficiency? I mean, the numbers have been out there going back to last year. Just not enough yards, not enough plays in the passing game.
Yeah, that's it, and we have to do a better job of that. And it starts up front all the time, obviously, with our ability to protect and give ourselves opportunities. You got to win outside, you got to make great decisions and throws and catches, and we haven't done a good enough job of that. And we'll keep doing everything we can to look at ourselves and what we're doing and how we can execute better.
What was your overall assessment of how your offensive line played today?
We'll have to wait and see and look at it. We had. Again, we weren't efficient enough. It starts up front. There were some minus plays. Dak seemed to be moving around a little bit, but we'll look at it play by play and make those evaluations.
When you're in a stretch like this offensively as well, you talked before about not having the givens in your offense, not having that, and then one week Dak runs a lot, another week he doesn't. Is it just trying to find and get some rhythm, something that works before you can get traction to go forward?
Again, I thought we ran the ball well, very efficient in the running game. I thought we were physical in the running game. Zeke ran the ball really well throughout. A lot of different kinds of runs I thought were effective for us. Oftentimes what happens is when you have that quarterback read game in, when they're gearing up for the quarterback run, you get some better opportunities to hand it to your runner. And I think that was the case sometimes today in the ball game. That wasn't the issue as much as just being efficient, throughout the game, throwing the football and being explosive throwing the football.
Does Zeke just got to know where he was going out of bounds? Does he have to be more conscious? The touchdown play that got called back in the first half when it was 7-0.
Yeah, again, you have to look at it, but obviously you want to have a good feel for where you are relative to that boundary line. And Zeke's a very instinctive player. He's got a great feel for playing this game, and I think he just lost track as that play unfolded. That would have been a big play for us, obviously.
One of the things that they're going to have to work on a lot is finding some rhythm for the offense, because the defense did get worn down a little bit by how much they had to be on the field, I thought.
Yeah, and then it's going to be a cumulative effect of that, too. The first game you get through it, second game, but all of a sudden you start getting to week 6, 7, 8, and you played a lot of football. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the offense can get it going again, start possessing the clock, and do the things that made them good 2 years ago.
More from Seattle when we continue on the Cowboys postgame show. It's the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Welcome back to Seattle. Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg, 24-13 Seattle, the final score today. I really thought, although halves can change, games become lifetimes, but the tenor for this was set by the Cowboys' struggles in the first half. They could not get anything going, and it looked like Dak Prescott looked uncomfortable. He looked like he could just not find a rhythm.
Yeah, and I do think, Brad, this is new territory for Dak, because you go back, plays as a rookie 13-3, and give him whatever he wants, right? Contractually, whatever it is, we found our franchise quarterback. Last year, the Zeke Elliott situation, Tyron Smith missing what turned out to be 4 games. There were some reasons why Dak maybe didn't play as well as fans would like him to. I think this is the first time he's experiencing where the bullseye is on Dak Prescott. Fair or unfair, it's what a lot of quarterbacks go through. He hasn't really gone through that, but he's going through it these first 3 games.
Let's hear some of the post-game comments of Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott.
I think you talked in the first game about falling behind the chains in Carolina. You did that some tonight, but you had like a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 2 early.
Yeah.
Not converting that when you're struggling on offense, does that just kind of make sense?
Yeah, that hurts. In the past, that's been our go-to. That's been bread and butter, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We know we're getting that, regardless if it's the run, regardless if it's the read option, whatever it may be. In the past, that's been the bread and butter. So when you don't get that going, it's a tough day.
Overall, on 3rd down, what do you think? Week 1 was a little different, but what do you think you've been struggling the last 2 weeks on 3rd down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got to go back and look at this game on the tape and see exactly the reasons before I try to pinpoint one specific part of our game or our offense of why the 3rd downs didn't work. But we've got to do better in converting those 3rd and shorts first, and then keeping ourselves in 3rd and short, not necessarily 3rd and long.
It's like Martin was saying that he thinks you're doing a good job running the ball, but the line's just not giving you enough protection. Is that one of the things you have to focus on going forward?
It's something I got to look at. Anytime that I get hit or the pressure, I'm not thinking it's the line. Sometimes I've got to go back and in the past, sometimes it's been self-pressured. So before I say, it's this or that, I've got to watch the film. Simple as that. But they're fighting their tail off up front, and I'm going to help them out when I can, and that's just something we're going to grow together with.
In your time here, have you been at this kind of loss for answers before, or it's hard to pinpoint it?
I don't know. I mean, last year there were some times, but I'm not somebody thinking, but necessarily on the negativity part where I'm just focused on the good things that we've done and how we're going to continue to grow on those to get better going forward.
We've seen Zeke have games before where there wasn't a lot there for him. It's kind of unusual to see him have miscues like he did today. What kind of conversation do y'all have, and what was his mood like after this game?
I mean, obviously he's a leader. He's a leader of this team. He's a guy that cares a lot about what he does and his craft. And so his mood's going to be, he's not going to be happy. He's not going to be happy with himself and with his performance. But as you said, you don't see that many times. So for me, it's about just making sure he keeps his spirits high and keeping his confidence in himself and in this team, and he'll be fine.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dak.
That's Dak Prescott, and we'll have more from Seattle when the Cowboys postgame show continues. Welcome back to Seattle. It's the Cowboys postgame show, 24-13 Seahawks today. Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg. We're joined by the Cowboys' Anthony Brown. There are bright spots in almost every loss. Anthony Brown was one for the Cowboys today, very aggressive and making plays, tackling in the kicking game, tackling in defense. It looked to us like, especially up front, but that overall you guys were on the field so much that you got worn down a little bit in the second half. Is that, you think, accurate?
When we out there, we really can't tell if we out there a lot of whatever, but, I mean, it's football, and if the offense slacking, we got to pick it up. If we slacking, the offense got to pick it up. So, I mean, we just got to keep going, and we got to be tough, man. These road games are hard.
There's one thing, and you don't need me to tell you this. Babe talked about it some during the game, reminded me that I think there are 3 teams in the league left without an interception, and you're one of them. And I know that drives you crazy because of the really good work as a group that you put in all preseason. When you think back and look at it, can you account for that at all? Is it luck?
I mean, it's kind of a little bit of both, I got to look at the film and see how many opportunities we had to actually get an interception. And we just got to keep pushing, man. It's a long season. It's only week 3. We got to keep pushing.
Seattle's been very difficult to beat at home, as you well know, and they've won now 9 straight home openers, 14 of the last 15. Now it goes to 15 of 16. How difficult a place is it to play when you're out there?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like it's just like any other stadium. It's no different from any other away game. We just got to execute, man. You know, I feel like we matched up well. We just got to execute.
And they had the ball. You guys cut it to 11. They had a 3rd and 7, I believe, and they ended up squirting out and getting the first down. Did you think we make a stop here and we may be back in this ball game? About 3 minutes left in the game.
Was that the run
Yep,
play?
Yep.
Yeah, that was big. You know, I think we missed a couple of tackles on that play, and we got to get off the field right there. So I told you it's about execution, man. We just got to execute better.
And did you get the sense, though, that you were climbing back into the game at that point?
For sure. I never thought we was out of the game.
Okay.
I always felt like we had a chance. The defense just keep doing what we do, keep giving the offense chances.
They didn't do anything that you didn't expect them to do, did they?
Nothing. They didn't do nothing we didn't see on film, nothing we didn't expect. We just got to execute, you know, go back to the drawing board and see what we could get better at.
You know, you say that it is early, and it clearly is. Now, you know that when you get home, I don't know if you look at Twitter, but a lot of guys in your locker room do. They won't be pretty, and people around are really fickle. How do you keep that away from getting into your thought process and remembering that it's only week 3?
Yeah, I learned my lesson with Twitter and Instagram last year, so I just don't even get on it no more. I don't even look at it. I just keep my mind straight, keep it strong and tight, and keep my tight circle with the people we got in the locker room, because that's all that matters.
Walk our audience through, if you would, Anthony. What happens now? You leave here in Seattle. You obviously have Detroit for a noon game Sunday at AT&T Stadium. In your preparation, when do you start turning the page on this one and looking at Detroit?
Well, usually we go in on Tuesday to watch the film from the previous game, but I mean,
do you take a glance ahead of time?
Yeah, of course. You know, I get home tomorrow, take a glance at Detroit to see what they do, and they play Monday. They play tonight, right?
They play tonight.
Sunday night. Okay, Sunday night. So if I could, I'd try to catch a couple plays and just see, and then, you know, watch the film, because I haven't seen the film from Seattle yet, so I'll watch that and see what we get better at.
All right, Anthony, we appreciate it. Good work by you today, and we thank you for the time.
Thank you.
There's Anthony Brown.
Anthony.
Cowboys post-game show continues in a moment. Welcome back to Seattle. It's the Cowboys post-game show. 24-13 Seahawks, the final score today. Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg, joined by Cowboys tight end Geoff Swaim. The Cowboys offense got going a little bit late, and the first half had to be really puzzling and a struggle for you. I know you guys believe you're a better offensive team than you played early on. What did it feel like as you were struggling to find some kind of rhythm?
Yeah, I don't know, shooting yourself in the foot quite a bit, and so it's hard to establish a rhythm. And you know, our identity is an attacking offense that, you know, has a lot of rhythm and moves the ball. And so when you don't do those things, it's frustrating. And came out in the second half and, you know, picked it up a little bit, but, you know, we have to clean up a lot. There's a lot we need to fix. Finishing drives, you know, putting points on the board when you're in position to succeed.
And Jeff, fans want to see all this creativity. But your big plays came in the running game today. I believe it was 19, another 19, 26, and 21. And they also came with 2 and 3 tight end sets. I know your first run came out of a 3 tight end set.
Yeah.
So why is that working so well? And what enables that to end up with big runs at the end of the play?
Well, we have tight ends that can block. And, you know, our room, we work really hard on that. We pride ourselves in being good run blockers. And so when you're able to get that many guys, you know, around the ball that know how to block, good things happen. But, you know, as far as the creativity of our offense, you know, we have Zeke, so we want to run the ball.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's a tremendous help to our offense. And so when we can do those things, you know, we move the ball well.
And I asked Anthony Brown a minute ago, but about 3 minutes left. Seattle had the third down. You had cut it to 11. You hold them there. All of a sudden, the ball's back. You had all 3 of your timeouts in the 2-minute warning. Did you get the sense that, boy, we get this ball back here, and we could be right back into this game?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as poorly as we played in the first half, to be in the ball game and to have an opportunity to make something happen in the second half, and you know, a realistic shot at doing what we want to do. You know, we're right in the thick of it. You definitely have that sense, and so it's always disappointing to come up short, especially when, you know, your defense gives you the ball in those positions.
Talk about self-inflicted wounds, and unlike Carolina a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't a down and distance problem as much as a couple of drops, a guy stepping out of bounds, a fumble, that kind of thing, which kind of destroys rhythm. So what do you do as a team to overcome those kinds of things? Because it's not the kind of game you expect to play.
No, you go back to the basics and the fundamental things of football. Doing the little things well. For me, it's catching the ball and tucking it before the guy gets a chance to punch it out. Not stepping out of bounds. Just the awareness on the sidelines. Those are tough plays. Those are tough plays. But doing the little things well is what we need to focus on, and getting back to the fundamentals of football is huge.
Everybody in the division is now 2-1 or 1-2. Mm-hmm. So do you have to fight the urge like the fans to want to look ahead and say, okay, week 5, week 6, week 7?
No, you can't do that. You can't look any further ahead than what's directly in front of you. What's in front of us now is get the film watch, clean up what needs to be cleaned up, and start getting our game plan together for next week.
And do you know who you're playing next week? Detroit. That's a man that's focused on the game.
But I like the fact that he didn't know, because that means he's really looking at just today. Jeff, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff Swaim, Cowboys postgame show continues in a moment. Welcome back to Seattle, the Cowboys postgame show after a 24-13 Seahawks win. It is 1-2 Dallas against Detroit next week at AT&T Stadium, and I was really taken with the fact that Jeff Swaim said what you had said earlier and on the radio about what you do offensively when you're struggling the way they have so far in 3 games, certainly in 2 of the first 3, is you don't try to get fancy, you try to go back and pare it back down.
Yeah, well, and I think the inclination for fans is let's open this thing up and let's do a bunch of different stuff. And I think as a coaching staff and players, you want to get back to your bread and butter. And I'll go back, I know people don't like to hear that team of the 90s, but I'll go back to that team. They didn't do a whole lot of fancy stuff, and I can guarantee you they ran 525 F-post swing about 5, 6, 7 times a game. They ran 495 and got Michael in the end about 3 or 4 times a game, and they had about 6 running plays. So it was not a whole bunch of stuff that they were going into a grab bag and pulling out, and I think that's where this team, my guess is that's where they'll go as they get ready for Detroit.
And quickly, the question that we asked Jeff there at the end about, I think the thing that they did today was uncommon mental mistakes. Drop passes are focused, stepping out of bounds is focused, fumbles sometimes the other guy does something to create it. That caught me by surprise in this game. What do you do to battle that?
Well, you just address it, and I think the best thing Jason Garrett has done as a head coach is they do move on to the next game, and it's easier said than done. But the one thing they've done is they've played hard, and typically after a loss like this, and we remember Denver last year, they come back and they play pretty well.
And this was not nearly as bad across the board as Denver last year. There were some good things to take out of this, more bad things to take out of it, and that's what they'll do. The Cowboys are 1-2. The whole season's still in front of them. And Babe and I will be back with you when the Cowboys meet the Detroit Lions at noon next Sunday at AT&T Stadium.
The Dallas Cowboys postgame show was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Want to tour AT&T Stadium? For more information, call 817-892-TOUR.